Happy Wellness Wednesday. My name is Robin Lee. I'm a medical intuitive located in Southern California. I've been in practice for over 33 years and am super grateful to be here today. The first and third Wednesdays of the month, I love creating videos for you here on YouTube. So I trust you're going to enjoy this process. If you have not subscribed below, please take the time to do that. That way you get notifications of when new videos actually are released and don't get to miss out on anything that way. So that being said, I hope you're doing really well. Last Wednesday, so that was 2 weeks ago, last Wellness Wednesday, we were talking about the importance of honoring what we're going through, whatever it is, and how oftentimes resistance in our life, resistance in our emotional process, resistance to whatever's going on in front of us can oftentimes be a big, huge hindrance in our healing process. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, please make sure to do so. Today, I wanted to tag team off of that video actually and help you out if you're dealing with having a hard time being connected to the moment. I think a lot of times we resist things because we've learned somewhere that if we don't like something, we can change it. So we don't necessarily want to hold on to it. We don't necessarily want to keep it the same because we're wanting a different experience. And that's all beautiful. We want a different experience. But honoring what we are going through in a moment doesn't mean we're going to keep recreating that experience. In fact, by honoring what we're going through in a given moment, it allows us, whether it's physical or emotional, it allows us to be what we call present in this moment. If we're thinking about constantly how we want to be compared to how we are, it's pretty darn hard to make conscious traction in our day-to-day experience in the healing process because we put these boundaries or expectations on what we're experiencing. So how do we do this if we're feeling tired or we're feeling upset about something? Obviously, we don't want to keep feeling those things because it's an uncomfortable feeling. So the sweet answer to that is choosing to surrender to the moment and reminding ourselves that because we're feeling in this moment, whatever it is, and we're honoring whatever it is, it doesn't mean that that's going to keep continuing moving forward. Honoring what we feel in the moment is such a beautiful way of creating a state of presence. And a lot of times I think we choose to honor the moments that feel really good, and then we have a tendency of resisting the moments that don't. The issue with that is there's a lot of times in life that don't feel good, and the more resistance we have, the more inflammation our bodies actually start to carry. So resistance can look like judgment. It can look like we're repulsed by something. We could just kind of be holding our breath. That's one way we look at resistance. Whatever the situation may be, have the courage to be able to honor how you're feeling in a given moment and take 5 to 10 slow, big, deep breaths. This is really important. This is something I actually got very good at raising children at home. And I was taught that if you're upset or feeling frustrated, to give yourself at least 5 slow, big, deep breaths. I remember learning this like yesterday, and I remember how surprised I was to go from frustrated or angry within 5 to 10 breaths into a place of more calm and clarity. That doesn't mean the situation still didn't anger me, but I was able to show up in a different way by just giving myself the space of 5 to 10 slow, big, deep breaths to honor how I was feeling. Honoring alone how we feel creates a state of calm and groundedness in ourselves. Again, we've been taught not to do this a lot of the time. So one might say, well, what do I do? Just breathe in and out. No, take your time. Allow yourself to create space and take your time. And what I like to do if I'm feeling emotional or I'm noticing resistance to anything that's going on in my present day, so I notice I'm irritated, I'm noticing I'm sad, or I'm noticing I'm angry, or I'm noticing I'm feeling anxious, I take my 2 hands and I put it on my body. I close my eyes and I breathe in through the nose slowly and deeply, exhaling out through the mouth slowly and deeply. And then when I breathe in, I'm thinking to myself and I start closing my eyes, I honor how I feel in this moment, even if it's difficult. And I exhale out any stress and tension. I breathe in. I hold my breath, thinking to myself, I'm still holding my breath, that I honor whatever I'm feeling in this moment. And then I'm able to exhale out any stress and tension. And I breathe in slowly. And I hold it, and I hold it, and I hold it. And then I exhale out anything that no longer serves me. Slow, big, deep breaths. I honor how I'm feeling in this moment. And then I exhale any stress or tension. Some people do better with thinking, I acknowledge how I'm feeling in this moment. And then exhaling slowly and deeply any stress or tension. I acknowledge how I'm feeling in this moment. And I'm exhaling any stress or tension. So I'll do that for 5 to 10 breaths. And as you can tell, I'm doing it in a very slow, consistent way. I'm breathing in an intention, which is I'm honoring or I'm acknowledging how I feel. And then I exhale out any stress or any tension. The goal of this is not to change how I feel. That happens on its own. What happens is we're creating a space to embrace how it is that we're organically feeling in a moment. And then we're exhaling out any stress and any tension. And we're breathing in, honoring or acknowledging how we feel in this moment. And then exhaling out any stress or tension. And what it does is it, in 5 to 10 breaths, slow, deep breaths, it changes the way we physically feel. It changes the pressure in the moment. That's a brilliant way to describe that. By taking slow, big, deep breaths when we're feeling overly emotional or we're feeling like our emotions are getting the best of us, taking 5 to 10 slow, big, deep breaths, hands on the body, honoring and acknowledging. It's inviting that feeling to come in instead of saying, ooh, this is uncomfortable, or I don't like this, I'm going to push it away, is such a game changer. And when you do this breathing and you get used to doing this breathing, going with uncomfortable emotions, there's a peace and a confidence that happens in the moment. Something shifts and you feel different. And you can still feel the emotion, but you can communicate it about maybe in a different way. Perhaps you need 5 extra slow, big, deep breaths. Remember to focus on that deep breath and slow connection. If you breathe deep, if your eyes are open, this likely is not going to work. Slow, big, deep breaths, hands on the body, allowing yourself to remember the words as you're coming through. And the goal of this is to simply basically say, I understand to myself why I feel the way that I feel. It is okay. I'm acknowledging that I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, and I'm creating space for that with my breathing. When I say something magical or something unique or something really cool kind of happens, you start transforming emotion by honoring how you feel. So many of us want to be heard from others, but we forget to hear ourselves. And when we give ourselves permission to do breathing like this, we're giving ourselves permission to feel and to connect to ourselves. This is such a fantastic way of nurturing and supporting ourselves. It's a fantastic way of minimizing inflammation that emotions can cause. If we're sifting through, well, I'm doing this healing work, I'm doing this therapy work because I want to feel happier. That's a beautiful goal, but there's a process to get to that point. And some moments you're going to feel very, very happy, and other moments you're not. So the question is, in those moments that you don't feel the way you want to feel, are you pushing those things away, or are you honoring how you're feeling? A good indicator is if your breathing is really fast, that normally means you're not taking enough breath to create enough space to allow that transformation to happen. And the reason we do this is we're not comfortable, so we breathe fast, and we breathe with our eyes open. Invite it in, slow down the breath, transform the uncomfortable moments that you're living in, and allow yourself to be present with yourself, and you will be given guidance and confidence that you likely have not felt before. This is such a powerful thing for those of you that have inflammatory conditions. This is such a powerful thing for those of you that experience anxiety. A lot of anxiety comes because we push a lot of emotions away and we don't allow ourselves to be present, or we feel ashamed that we have a lot of emotions that are going on. Our emotional health and how we deal with our own emotions has a direct link to how we can physically heal. So people ask me all the time as a medical intuitive, why am I talking about emotions and emotional health so much? This is why. How we process our emotions has a direct link with how deeply we can actually heal. Create space for yourself with those conscious breaths. Acknowledge yourself with those conscious breaths. Again, years ago, I was so amazed at, by doing this, how my need to be heard from other people shifted. I honored myself. My confidence shifted very, very, very quickly. I would say in a couple of months, by allowing myself to honor how I felt. Instead of taking hours and hours and hours with someone I was living with, or a boyfriend or a friend, trying to get them to understand, I took time to honor how I felt, and it lifted off this external need, which took off a ton of pressure. Plus, if we're going around life cherry picking what we want to experience instead of all that there is, what a stressful way that can be to live our lives. Stress and inflammation go hand in hand. In fact, in the work that I do, stress actually creates inflammatory response. So I will tell people over and again, and you may have heard me tell you this, inflammation is actually a fancy word for stress. Whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, it's a fancy and complicated word for stress. So the goal is, how do I find what's physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually creating stress for me? The first thing we look for is, what am I resisting? This is such a powerful and courageous step to take. I give myself permission, or I honor how I feel, or I allow myself to connect in and acknowledge what it is I'm emotionally feeling. And then as I exhale out, I'm letting go of all stress and tension. Try this. Try this and commit to this as best as you can when you're uncomfortable in situations. 5 to 10 slow, big, deep breaths, hands on the body, eyes closed. Slow breaths in, exhale out, and remember this statement. There is so much that will happen to you. A stress you're constantly walking around with is going to start to dissolve. You will feel more comfortable in your body and your mind and in your overall life. You deserve this.